Episode 326 of the TV Dudes, recorded March 31st, 2021. Welcome to the TV Dudes, Nick Tice. We hope you survived the experience. This week, Nick Tice joins us as a new regular contributor while Kyle is on hiatus, and he's just in time to talk with us about Invincible on Amazon Prime, the Mighty Ducks Gamechangers on Disney Plus, and the Irregulars on Netflix. Plus, we might just sneak in another look at Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I am Nikolai, dude of TV. Hello.
And we're the TV Dudes, or the Dudes of TV, perhaps.
It's Soviet Russia, Randy. TV Dudes, you.
Hey
So,
guys,
Nick,
nice to see you again.
You've guested with us a couple times, but you're joining us for a while at least to sub in for Kyle.
Well, of course. I mean, it's the least I can do after flooding his house.
I knew it was you.
Look, it wasn't Marv really was on that thing about the wet bandits. He wanted the calling card. I thought it was stupid, but you know, Marv, he's such a sweet guy. I couldn't say no to him.
This tracks with my mental image of Wisconsin as just like an ice wasteland where you sit on top of like a snow mountain as king, which like straight out of Adventure Time.
Well, we do have a king that's like mad that the crown is just making him more and more disabled, but he can't take it off. It's just that it's a cheese head.
I was gonna say like minions of like cheese wheelies.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a lot more ice in Minnesota or in Wisconsin than there is on the planet Duculon or whatever it was we were talking about before we started recording.
World, Randy.
Puck World. I'm sorry. My
Puck
apologies
World.
to the Mighty Ducks fans out there. I discovered in pre-gaming all this that I thought I was a casual Mighty Ducks fan, but I'm basically like a casual Mighty Ducks fan newbie.
We're gonna have to get into talking about that in a minute. I have questions.
So
I have
many
answers.
questions. So before we get to all that, though, it's time for our TV Diary segment.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
And Nick, why don't you kick us off here?
Oh boy, the honor is mine, I guess. Well, I have watched a bunch of HBO stuff. A lot of stuff hit there. I watched the series of Batwoman. It was one of the only CW superhero shows I haven't watched yet. It's okay.
Yeah.
It has the same weakness that all the other CW shows has. It shouldn't be 26 fucking episodes long or whatever it is.
Yep.
It's too long to fight the same villain because then you have to like have dumb reasons for letting them go and each person not killing the other.
Gotta forget about him for 4 episodes in the middle.
Yep.
And, yeah.
I think Kate Kane has been captured like 5 times and no one's looked under her mask. It's like, none of you are even curious? Not even a little bit? Okay, I guess. I also watched the original Muppet Show. I've been starting to rewatch of that. I haven't watched it since I was a kid. Very interesting on the rewatch.
Yeah, how does it hold up for you?
Amazingly well. The idea of Kermit just being this downtrodden guy that's trying to put on this show every week, dealing with these prima donnas and just assholes.
See, I don't know what that's like.
It's like it's
Waka waka waka, Randy.
Phenomena. I love that Scooter. I forgot that Scooter's uncle owned the theater. So when they have they're in the middle of a discussion about a sketch and Kermit's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. And suddenly it was like, whose idea was it? Scooter's. Oh shit, his uncle owns the building. Okay, we're doing the thing. All right, let's go.
By the way, I know you're paraphrasing, but I love the idea of just a full-on Dirty Muppets where they just curse. It's like action, but at the Muppet Show.
Oh man, I was discussing action with someone the other day. You talking about the Jay Moore?
The Jay Moore FX show. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I love it. Also, like, Statler and Waldorf come off as very much like Fozzie's doing the best he can, guys. Come on. Like, I really feel bad for him. Like, come on, it's bad enough that he's dying up there. You don't have to like stick the knife in. Then again, they are the funniest part of that sketch.
It's not just like having a heckler. You have like Olympic, like pro level hecklers, like
Mhm.
Right.
ringers, like fighting out way out of their weight class here.
It's like if comedians came down, like Jim Gaffigan came down to heckle you. Like, what are you doing? Why?
Yeah, this is my first open mic, Norm Macdonald. The fuck?
This is hard enough as it is. Leave me alone. Yeah, I guess I watched Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Team Big Monkey or Team Lizard?
I am team what was it? Damn it, what's the turtle? Gamera. I'm team Gamera because you know my fandom of Ninja Turtles. So anything that's even like a turtle has to
Full-grown
be
Ninja
the best for
Turtle.
me. I did all the homework shows and I watched Q Into the Storm, that HBO documentary series, or at least up into episode 4. Les and I were talking about it off mic, and Les, it gets a lot better in like episode 4.
Oh, does it? Because I was
well-
just thinking during your Batwoman bit that like, how many times have they captured and been in the room with Q and no one's taken the mask off yet?
Well, I like that in episode 4 they find out that the Q's password is Matlock, and
Yes.
even the guy that's doing the narration of the documentary is like, no, for real, it's Matlock. Can you believe it? He drops his whole like neutral presentation of like unbiased, and he's like, isn't that fucking stupid? Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And yeah, otherwise it feels like a advertisement for 8chan, and it's kind of a really hard watch for like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I much rather watch Puck World, you know.
Why
See
don't they
what's
just
going on
call
there.
it Puck? Why is it called Puck World?
Because pucks already exist on that world, Les. That's what they hit around. They can't. It has to be a puck world.
Is the world shaped like a puck?
Think about how often they play hockey, Les. It would be confusing.
Y'all, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh my God.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Les, what about your TV diary this week?
Okay, I clearly did not watch enough Mighty Ducks cartoon. I watched a bunch of Elementary. I watched the last Blockbuster documentary, partly as my lead up to interviewing Brian Hogan, the guy that on TikTok that made the video store in his basement.
Yeah.
So that interview's out now. It's over on YouTube. So I also watched some Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office. I watched 3 episodes of the Quinoa Into the Storm. I watched what I'm going to now permanently refer to as the Zack Snyder Arrowverse. I watched season 2 of Titans. And I had watched Titans is infuriating. It is a lot of bad ideas, but then every once in a while they do something really cool, and you're like, God damn it!
It's just this side of too frustrating to watch. Like,
Yep.
I
threw my remote down at episode 1 of season 2 because they had spent all of season 1 with Trigon as this huge villain, and then they literally just like fart-clad him away.
Yep.
And I was so mad. But then they do a bunch of other there's a couple of episodes in the middle that are just about Connor and Cadmus, and they're a trip. But that was cool. Crypto, you get to see Crypto.
awesome.
Yeah, Crypto kicks the shit out of some people. It's pretty fun.
Titans is so it's like the Bizarro Doom Patrol for me. It's like for every good idea they have, there's like 7 bad ideas.
Yeah, it's the flipped ratio.
It's like Doom Patrol is like almost always great. Then there's like one thing I don't like.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a horror movie called Friend Request. Of course, all the homework. Falcon and Winter Soldier. A really fun horror movie called Hungerford. This one I would recommend seeking out. I think it was on Netflix. It was quite fun. It's found footage, but it's very Shaun of the Dead. It's British college kids, and this zombie outbreak starts, and the shit hits the fan. Or it's not exactly a zombie outbreak, but it's quite fun. I really enjoyed it. Watched the Tina Turner documentary. That's I think on HBO Max. It was great. It was really cool. And then watched, because of an interview I did today, a movie called Witness Infection that is a horror comedy about a mafia family that's been placed in witness protection inadvertently in the same town as another mafia family. And so they're all just trying to keep the peace, and then a zombie outbreak.
Oh, interesting. I kind of like that.
It's
Les, you had
really,
me at witness infection.
it's really fun. They throw a million jokes at the wall. Obviously, not all of them stick, but the cast is almost entirely people that you have heard but don't see.
Hmm,
So Maurice LaMarche is in this.
okay.
Tara Strong, uh, Aaron Hayes is in it, who we just saw recently in Bill and Ted 3.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a ton of voice actors you're not used to seeing. Basically, it's written by a couple of voice actor improv comics, and they called in every favor they had to get everybody they knew to come and do this.
Nice.
And then one of the writers, he talked about it in the interview, lives next door to a guy who does practical creature effects. So he's known this dude and seen his workshop for years, and called in every fit. So there's quite a bit of goo and gore, and I think the only times I saw CGI blood were when somebody had to use a shotgun, because I just
Hmm.
don't think they had the money for the squib. But
Mm.
but anytime that they could just put a hose off camera and high pressure spray someone in blood, they did. It's pretty great.
So I watched. I finished my season 2 Happy Endings rewatch, which is half rewatch and half watch. Like I don't remember all of it. It's entirely possible I didn't come in until middle of season 2 on Happy Endings. Uh, and I got to the ending, and it keeps getting better as it goes along. And I got to the end, I was really mad because like, oh man, I can't believe they didn't get a third season. And then I was like, oh no, they did get a third season. I clearly have watched all of it, so I have a third season to look forward to that I've mostly forgotten. So I'm pretty happy about that. Usually, when you get to the end of a show, you're like, can't believe there's no more of this. There's like 23 more episodes, so that was a great revelation. On the flip side, watch this week's Superman and Lois, which is the last Superman and Lois we're getting till May, because of COVID.
Damn COVID.
Yeah,
It is the kryptonite of our time.
yeah.
Truly.
It was supposed to be delayed. That's why they delayed the production or delayed it showing up till 2021. Basically, they were like, we don't have that many episodes, but supposedly in May it's going to be back. Right now, its time slot's going to Supergirl for a while, so I'll miss that. But got that episode down. I watched all the TV homework, and then I watched ahead and watched all of Solar Opposites for next week, which we'll talk about more. I think we all watched most of that. And I also watched about half of Mank and determined that I don't give a shit about old Hollywood.
Wow, then you're the exact opposite of current Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't figure that out during Hollywood. You
Yeah.
know it now.
Yeah, I thought I would have figured that out during Ryan Murphy's Hollywood show, but apparently it took me another show to figure it out. And yeah, I was like, I got halfway through. I was like, that's a good cast. This is cute. No, thank you. So
I found two movies that I did not know existed. When I was a kid, I read a book series called The Three Investigators. That was my Hardy Boys
yeah.
type series that I read.
Mhm.
There's like 40 something of them. They're a lot of fun. Very formulaic plots. But apparently, they are wildly popular in Germany,
Hmm.
to the point that they republish all of them. And at some point in the mid 2000s, they made two movies that are in
Huh.
English with American actors. They're just shot, I think, in South Africa or in Germany, and one of them is at least shot on location in South Africa. But one of them is available on Amazon, and I rented it and watched it. The other one I ordered on DVD because it's not available in this region. Thanks, streaming rights. But Cameron Monaghan is in this. He's the faux Joker from Gotham.
Oh wow.
He was in Shameless. I think he was in Shameless. Super redheaded, like incredibly redheaded kid. The younger you age him, the more Bob Ross his head gets, and it's still just incredibly red. And then he's just got these like little rascal daubed on freckles. It can't be real. So it's bizarre seeing him. Like, oh, you're turned into a pretty good actor. You were really weird looking as a kid. But I was just absolutely overjoyed to find that these were ever made and they exist at all. Just super weird. But prior to the internet, there was a minute where I thought I just made that series up.
Les, it's funny. when you say that it was very popular in Germany, I immediately flashed to news radio and imagined that your investigator series was basically translated from English to German, then back to English, and
Now
it's
it's
just like,
wildly popular here.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they're making a series that'll run for years, having translated it back from German.
The investigators, macho business donkey wrestlers.
Yes, super yum yum race car go.
So let's just a good reminder that you can go support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us $1 an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. We also have our $20 showrunner level. So if there are shows you want us to throw into the rotation, you can buy into that level, give us a couple of ideas. The 1-year anniversary of us talking about JoJo is coming up, and I will be very surprised if someone doesn't make us watch more JoJo.
That someone
feel
might
like
have to
we
be
should-
me.
We should celebrate the anniversary of talking about JoJo from here on out.
You just mean we should just talk like JoJo from here on out?
Yes, that'll be a TV Dudes Talk Like JoJo Day.
Les, it's been 1 exact year since we've talked about this.
Oh, Nick, we must talk about it more.
Okay, so let's jump over to new business for the week. Let's talk about Invincible over on Amazon Prime. First thing I want to know is, did y'all read any of the comics before?
Yes.
All the way through, or just parts of it?
I read up until a couple years, and then I kind of realized Robert Kirkman was never going to end this fucking thing.
And then he did.
And then he did, and I didn't go back and watch it and read it. And I was like, God damn, I thought this was going to be like The Walking Dead, and you just never ended it.
Yeah. And he ended
I
that
didn't
one,
know
too.
it was going to really wrap up. At some point, I stopped, so I know I've not read how it ended. But I was excited about the show coming out because the twist that happens at the start that sets it up is so fun.
Yeah.
So I'm looking across the room, and I've got 3 of the Invincible hardcovers, which I believe is as far as I got, which is, I think, about 36 issues, and it ran, I don't know how many, but it was 25 trades worth. So I'm like not even halfway through it, and I think I had the same reaction Nick did, which is basically Kirkman for a while there, for a long while there, was like, "Oh no, I don't believe in ending stories. I have no intention of ever ending Walking Dead or Invincible." And I was like, "Well, dude, I don't care then. I don't want to read your books." And then he finally ended them, and I'm like, by that time, I never went back.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I loved the book that Invincible was going to promise me in the first like 5 issues. The idea of this young kid who's the son of like a Superman type, and what was going to be like him, growing up and becoming a superhero. Like, that was the book I wanted to read. And then all of a sudden, it was like a crazy ultra-violent book, and it wasn't the same book I wanted to read, even though it was interesting. Like, that version of the book was not the one I wanted to read, and so that's one of the reasons I never went back to it. So I'm curious if Invincible, the cartoon, will hold my interest in a way more than the comic did, because there's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't quite click for me.
You're going into the cartoon a lot more like I went into the comic, because I was reading a lot of comics at the time. I don't think I read it that long after it was initially published, but it was definitely handed to me with the twist. Like, hey, this is about what if you were Superman's kid and then Superman was evil.
Yeah.
Well, no one really talked about it until the twist happened. And then it was like, everyone was like, whoa.
Yeah, so I might have come in just a month or two late, but whoever handed it to me, or however I got it definitely came with the twist glowing neon already.
It almost got canceled before the twist. He was going to do the twist much later, and the publisher told him to move it up because they were in danger of being canceled.
For me, it was kind of like Ultimate Spider-Man before Ultimate Spider-Man, of like this young kid trying to figure out his powers and just fucking up, and like this. I don't know. I like any universe where superheroes are so prevalent that there are governments and like businesses that are built around them, like a whole tailor shop made of just making super costumes, and he's constantly in work. Like, how often do you make a new costume for everybody? Like, wouldn't it be just like making costumes for like replacement costumes? But no, there's enough new superheroes that he has to design a bunch of shit like every week.
He's just got like an ugly prom suit hanging on the rack over here. Like, yeah, he never picked it up. You want
it? So, what did you guys think of the first 3 episodes of this?
I really enjoyed it. It reminded. It's been a while since the comic. I don't remember if the comic reminded me of The Boys like this. But it reminds me a bit of The Boys TV show, which isn't a terrible thing. It helps it stake out its own claim a little bit. I like the animation style. I like that they dropped 3 at once. The voice cast is great. The violence is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a little weird and almost off-putting to me. I'm like,
It's shocking. Like, and I know they mean it to be, but it's
I just like there's dials on these things of like there's a realism dial, and I'm like, so rather than the realism of what it would be like living in a world of superheroes, your realism is, oh, superheroes are still weird, wacky. Everybody's got code names and that kind of thing, and spandex costumes and all that stuff. But the violence is very real, and to me, that's
Right.
almost a Zack Snyder type decision. It's like, what if everything was terrible? And I'm like, I don't know if I like this. That superheroes are just a menace that destroy things.
I kind of like that it has Zack Snyder violence, but on top of Disney style, like code names and funny costumes and bright colors.
Yeah, that's
Like-
definitely its sweet spot.
Like, I'm like, okay, I kind of get this. I kind of get where you're going. For me, the first 3 episodes were kind of like my first time having sex, which was awesome, but way too fast. The pacing is a little fucked up considering how I get the twist. I get that the twist has to be after the first episode. I get that. It probably shouldn't be. It should probably be midway through the first season to get it established. We should really like Omni-Man, which I do. He's played by J.K. Simmons, and inspired casting right there. I like him enough, but like I should really like him and trust him before the turn happens. But I get why they have to do that.
Yeah, I understand that too. It feels like, and I agree with you. I think it's one of those things where the twist should have come later, but I absolutely understand why they felt they had to do it in that first episode.
Mm-hmm. The thing with I don't think should be right now is the thing they're doing with Robot Man is 3 episodes in, or Robot, and I was like,
yeah.
we should get to know Robot more, like a whole season before we do the thing that we're about to do with him.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much to spoil on this or whatever, but the way they're playing the robot thing is not, if you've read the comic, it's not very suspenseful. And if you haven't read the comic, it's like, wait, I just met this character and now I'm supposed to be suspicious of him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, I don't know, it felt out of place.
I do think you hit on something. I think that they are definitely using the shortcut of, we like all these actors, to not necessarily have to do the writing required to make us like the characters. They're like,
For sure.
You're gonna like J.K. Simmons, so we can do whatever we want. You're gonna like him, and you like Zachary Quinto so you're gonna like Robot. I mean, Zachary Quinto playing Robot is a little on the nose, but
a little bit.
I'm with Nick that you think we talked off mic that Rexplode is Jason Mantzoukas' voice casting. Even though he's hysterical, he jumps out so much.
Yeah.
As like, oh, that's Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, he's the one who doesn't, because I started looking at the voices after, but like I recognize J.K. Simmons, but everybody else, like Walton Goggins as Cecil Stedman, like I didn't catch that at first.
Yeah, I think he's wasted at that.
Oh,
yeah,
I think
he does great.
He's going to be important though, because Cecil Stedman is their Nick Fury, and so I think he's got it. But he doesn't overplay his hand. And same with Gillian Jacobs as Eve. Like
Britta jumped out at me.
I didn't catch that at all. I thought they did a great job of like she underplays it, and I thought that was important.
Ooh, that's another advantage this show has, is that the female characters are written way better.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kirkman, but it's like no comparison. It's night and day. These the what was it? His girlfriend. Shit.
You talking about Amber?
Yeah, Amber. Amber's way more interesting already than she ever was in the comic. And I was like, okay, I actually like Amber. I totally get this relationship. I love the bully coming to ask her out for him. That is like, it's like, hey, I'm sorry, man. Okay. It's like someone apologizing to you, but like bullying you at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, this all has to do with my father. I'm sorry about this outburst. That's confusing. I don't know how to feel about that. But yeah, I think the Atom is a girl. Mantzoukas' Rexplode has been race swapped, I think. I didn't realize how white the comic was until I watched the show, and I was like, oh shit, yeah.
So I wanted that brings me to a point actually. This show they did diversify it a little bit. They've had more female characters. There's a few characters who aren't white, but it still feels like a pretty white show. Like it's created by a dude from Kentucky. Like it is a pretty white show, and it felt much as I love the music, it was a weird thing. I was like, wait a minute, what is De La Soul doing in this? Like, what is Run the Jewels? Why? Like, it's great music and it works with the scenes, but it almost takes me out of it because it doesn't feel like it fits thematically with it. It'd be if Atlanta was all scored to Billy Joel. Like it just feels weird.
But wouldn't that be kind of funny for Atlanta if a whole episode was like?
No, I'd watch the hell out of it. But I'm just saying it's not a bad thing, but it definitely took me out of it. I was like, this is not what I would have expected from this show. And it's not a bad thing. It just weirded me out a little bit.
Yeah, I sort of get that as well. The lens of it is kind of weird. Like I'm not sure what perspective I'm supposed to be watching it. I mean, Invincible has now been race swapped as well. I think with his mom being portrayed as much more I'm not sure what she is, Asian, and then in the comics, and he's played by Steve Yeun, which is really cool. Giving him
Sandra
some.
Oh, that's the mom, or Sandra Oh, that's the
Sandra
mom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sandra Oh is awesome at the mom.
Yeah.
As the mom. It was just great.
I'm nothing like Dad. I'm more like you. I'm nothing special.
Oh, like a knife to the heart with this one.
What's interesting is for me is watching it and being like, it's not all new to me. And I went and actually compared the comics a little bit, and it's pretty like they've updated some technology. Like I said, they updated some race and gender stuff, but it's pretty dedicated adaptation. And I'm curious to get to the part where I don't know what's going to happen and see if I'm engaged. Because right now, I think y'all both like this more than I did, which is not to say I didn't like it, but I definitely was like, this is like, it was okay. And I'll be curious to see if it keeps my interest or if I fade out. It's definitely not grabbing me like The Boys did.
I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, for me, it was I love the action sequences. The animation on the action sequences is great. The violence of it is so fucked up. It's weird that I watched it 3 times. And for me, the comic was like, the comic was The Boys at the time, which The Boys in the comic was terrible. And for me, it was like, this is The Boys if it was good. But now we have a show that's that. So now it has to be kind of its own thing. And despite the pacing things, I'm wondering, after we get to season 1 and they do all the things I think they're going to do, how long can this show go? Because I know I quit reading at some point, but as how it's stretched out in the comics, because it has the opposite problem The Walking Dead has. The opposite of spending an entire season at a fucking farm. Like, it's like, no, let's spend some more time, like not a whole season on the farm, but give me an episode or 2, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'll be curious to see. I'm definitely going to keep up with it. I feel like the Amazon model of like three episodes and then 1 episode a week is going to be a weird fit for this show. I'll be curious to see how satisfying it is in 1-hour chunks. But I guess we'll find that out tomorrow. Really, right? Doesn't it drop on Fridays now?
I think so.
So yeah, Fridays is going to be coming like it's the big day of the week for TV right now because
TGI Fridays are back.
They are. And we've even got a TGI Friday worthy contender in the Mighty Ducks Gamechangers. So let's talk about Mighty Ducks.
Sure. Who's watched the movies?
I watched the first one about a month ago.
I was thinking there's something to be said about a new television series that we're all uncertain about, made on Disney Plus from the trilogy. Sorry, Hulu has all 3 Mighty Ducks movies and are referring to them as Watch the Trilogy. And all I could think was like, a TV series on Disney Plus from the trilogy, you say? Of course you mean Mighty Ducks.
Yes, of course.
So I know I've seen the first 2. I don't think I've ever seen Mighty Ducks.
Oh, Back on the Ice?
Nick, you've seen all of them,
Sure.
I know. And also the animated series, which I didn't know existed till about 20 minutes ago.
No, but it is on Disney Plus, it seems, and I will be watching the crap out of it.
It was the last episode ever produced for the Disney Afternoon in 1996.
Okay, all right.
And it was the last of the Ninja Turtle knockoffs as they were trying to It was the last gasp of stuff like Battle or Biker Mice from Mars, SWAT Cats, Battletoads, Street Sharks, and of course I watched it because anything that was even a little bit like the Ninja Turtles was amazing to me as a kid. So yes, I watched Wild Wing, Featherblade, and his brother Nosedive, along with their team of duck hockey player savior aliens, fight Tim Curry's monster Dragonus, who is a dragon, but like no wings. He's like a dragon alien.
No one can verify if you are making all of this
I
up.
know, right? The natural enemy of the duck, a dragon.
A dragon, yeah.
Obviously.
Well, they're interdimensional dragons that were that threatened their world about 100 years ago, and there was another duck that saved the day, but they don't know if it was a legend or not. Drake Duck Duquesne, and so now they have to like fight back with the golden mask that's magic, but also technology. It's the only thing that can see the cloaked aliens. They have to get the tech expert Tanya Vanderbeek, I think is her name. Like everyone's a duck pun. Even their manager, when they get to Earth, their manager is played by James Belushi, and he's Phil Palmfeather, and it's the best James Belushi I've ever seen.
So I'm to understand that these Mighty Duck aliens come to Earth to play hockey and fight for justice?
Sort of. They come to a different Earth. They're from a different universe, Howard the Duck style.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because they come through a wormhole along with the other aliens. They chase them after their planet. And then they land on Earth in Anaheim. And of course, their entire world is based off of playing hockey. That is their war. That's how their whole military runs. And to the point where it's interesting where you see the planet in the opening shot and the asteroids around the planet are shaped like pucks. It's called Puck World, even though when you look at it topographically, there's no ice on the planet, so that makes no fucking sense. And so they realize, oh, we have to keep our skills sharp, so we have to register and play in the hockey league on Earth as the Mighty Ducks. They have to go through all the franchising and paperwork and stuff of joining a team to practice to fight aliens.
Okay.
I want to be in the pitch meeting room where this was pitched.
So, boys style or Invincible style, like crazy hyper violent. There is a show here about a team of alien warriors who land on Earth and join what is simply a sport league to use as their danger room.
No less. It should be a child's hockey league that they join.
It's got to be like bocce ball or kickball or something.
And they just massacre this poor kid's team.
Yeah. There's like 3 teams are dead.
All the stuff I just said is the first 22 minutes, and then it just goes from there.
God.
Holy fuck, this is Odyssey 5 good, man. This is amazing.
That's episode 1.
There is no way that the Mighty Ducks Gamechangers can live up to that.
There's no way I'm not watching this later tonight.
But that said, as a very, very casual fan of the Mighty Ducks, I thought this was a pretty good first episode.
I really enjoyed it. When Nick texted through the text chain that we might have another Cobra Kai here, and I was like, we'll see you about that hockey show. But no, I'm really loving this. Lauren Graham does great. It's got Riley from Letterkenny.
Dirty fucking dangles, boys.
Wheel Snipe Selly, boys. The kid that's running the podcast for the Ducks team, all of the weird kids they get, their goalie kid. I really enjoyed watching them build the team in the first episode.
Kid casting is hard. Kid casting is difficult, and they nailed it. I like all these kids.
So this is set obviously a generation after the original, and Estevez is in this show, and so I really wasn't sure what the connecting tissue would be.
Yeah.
What did y'all know about it going in?
About what you did. I knew he was in it. I knew Lauren Graham was in it. And I knew it was somehow about the Mighty Ducks, but I had no idea what to expect.
I honestly thought when I saw it in the thing, it just said Mighty Ducks, Mighty Ducks show. So I thought legitimately, I don't know why they want to talk about the cartoon, but I am so down with this.
As a treat for you, welcome aboard.
and then I looked further in and I was like, oh, that makes way more sense. And so I just watched the Mighty Ducks cartoon again anyway. But the Game Changers, I went in completely cold. I was like, okay, I didn't even know this was a thing. So sight unseen, I went in and I was like, so what's the catch here? What's gonna really bring me back? Because they've done 3 movies, the Aliens, like they've done everything with this franchise, and then suddenly they go to it. What if the Mighty Ducks were the bad guys? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm listening. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good Cobra Kai. I hadn't thought about it as a Cobra
Yep,
Kai.
very
Thing,
much
yeah,
so.
yeah.
What if it turns out Daniel was kind of a dick in high school?
Also,
Turns out.
I think Emilio Estevez plays. He starts in Mighty Ducks as the guy who doesn't want to be there, and then grows, of course, to become beloved by all the kids. I liked him going back to that. He's like, yeah, that whole thing was bad for me, and now I just run a hockey rink, and I don't really want to do that either. I like him being back in that place, so they can get him back to being the coach again. I thought I liked that story.
The gag with the cake.
Yes.
I eat leftover
really well.
birthday cake.
Yes.
How old is this? Okay.
Also, the thing that got me, the 2 kids going to their goalie because he plays a ton of online hockey. The thing, the moment I fell in love with this show is when they're just randomly throwing shit at him and he's just blocking it all, and then the podcast kid picks up a hammer and the other kid holds him. He's like, no,
Whoa.
too far.
Yeah.
That got. I was
dodgeball.
like, I'm in.
It almost lost me right before that, though, when they so easily look up another child on an online game and find his home address and go there. And I was like, how much is that game going to be on tomorrow's 5 o'clock fucking news? How many kids have vanished off this game?
That's a different show. It's outside the scope.
It was like,
I feel
man,
like the children that yell at me in Call of Duty would yell less obscenities if I knew where to find them.
right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the whole point of all of this is that nobody knows where the fuck you live.
Less you're not pitching Mighty Ducks Game Changers, you're pitching Mighty Ducks SVU.
Right. We thought our goalie would be here. It's just an empty house with one reporter, dude.
Bum quack.
This is another one, by the way, that I feel like I know Disney Plus likes to do their episodic every week an episode. I would have really liked to have binged a little more of this. At least give me 3. I would like to see a little more of where it's going, but I'm definitely going to keep watching it.
Same. I would have watched another one right there, but I will definitely watch more.
I love how it ends because the ending with Riley as the coach, and I realized why he didn't want the other kid to play in the beginning. I thought he was just being a dick, but then I've never had 2 words change my entire just how I view a show, and those words are full and contact.
Yeah.
Because when they start showing like, oh, it's also this is now full contact and everything like beating the shit out of each other is encouraged.
Like hip check, body check will be encouraged. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's why you didn't want the kid to play. It's a liability issue because he's definitely gonna die out there.
Like you're gonna get thrown into the boards, kid. Like fuck.
Because there's like in the background, there's Dolph Lundgren's clones that haven't aged right. Like
though, this means they're gonna have to find some like punky street kid who can throw down. That's gonna he's gonna have to be
They need a ringer.
It was pretty telegraphed, but I thought it was cute. The kid with the like $1,000 skates that they get.
Yes.
Like
that was
funny.
funny.
I saw it coming, but I didn't care. I was just
still
waiting
a funny
for
bit.
it.
Yeah, it's still a funny
when he
bit.
stepped out, like, oh, I should have mentioned. I suck. Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to more. I feel like it's good casting. I will always love Lauren Graham, so we're good.
I am not looking forward to more of the Irregulars, which I foolishly put on our TV homework because the premise sounded interesting to me. I know that some people, Arthur Conan Doyle purists, don't like it, but this premise is basically the Baker Street Irregulars, as run remotely Nick Fury style by Watson, are investigating supernatural crimes in ancient London.
Ancient London.
Whatever.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know when this London is set, considering
No
it is
idea.
multiracial and they use like, oh man, this investigation might be kind of lit. I don't know. What do you think, dudes? Like the language they use is
The
like
caste system is incredibly entrenched, except when they don't want it to be.
So I watched most of the first episode. I believe Les, you watched most of the first episode.
Yep.
And poor
I had
Nick.
10 minutes left and gave up.
Poor Nick watched all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Do they solve the mystery of whether Watson bones Holmes?
They solve the mystery of whether or not he wants to. I'll tell you what, I can start off by saying something nice about this show.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
good. Yeah.
I have, what was it? I forget their names, but the main two, the relationship between our head of the Irregulars, the girl, I forget her name, Bea, I think,
Uh-huh.
Sure.
something British, and the what's he, a duke or some sort of higher class dude?
The hemophiliac kid?
Yeah, the hemo kid, which of course in TV shows and movies, if you have hemophilia, you're basically Mr. Glass. Like
And royalty, obviously.
yeah, and their relationship and their acting is so stellar. It rises above everything else in the show of like, I would watch you guys in a teenage romantic comedy. Your chemistry is so good. And I like they give each other shit all the time, but it's always cute and flirty. They're both super into each other, but it's like I love that the first time he sees her, she's yelling at his valet like he wants to all the time, and he just yelling at him like, and he is. You just look on his face. He's like he's sprung. He's like, oh yeah, talk dirty to me, and also spit on me and tell me I'm bad.
That was also one of the moments that really ticked me off on the show, though, but for other reasons.
Yeah, there's only one problem I have with the rest of the show, and that's everything fucking else. This show is so terrible.
I think that's Thaddeus Graham that's playing B, and then Harrison Osterfield is Leopold. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think is the royal kid.
Yeah, I like Thaddeus Graham, like the opening episode where the fight that's being presided over by British hoodlum Cockney Mr. Monopoly. He is she comes up and is more scary than the giant dude he's about to fight, and I love that of like the actress must have came in like, okay, you see this guy here, this big giant man that is about to fight this guy? You have to look more scary than him. And she's like, I got you. All right.
So that scene worked for me of showing her flex that like, no, she's the tough. Because they were setting you up to like, this scrawny dude is going to show that he's tougher than you expect. And then like, no, she's tougher than you expect. But they're all in the underclass there. Like they're all poor hoodlum, artful dodger kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this weird fight club. But then later, when she runs into the bleeder carriage, I don't know what we call it, and his man gets out, and she lights into him. It's right after they've been approached by Holmes or by Watson, and Watson's entire point to why he needs them, which he lays out twice, is because the caste system is so strict that there's areas that we just can't get into because we're aristocrats and you're just urchin. And then she lights into this dude, and I'm like, it's daylight on a public street. He could just kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't set up your premise and then immediately undercut your premise.
That's what I felt like they did. And they did it to sell me on a scene they'd already given me.
Yeah.
Like I'd already seen her be tough.
You didn't hear her after her dialogue. It was low, you couldn't hear it, but she said, "No one talks down to me for this scene because we have to move forward the story."
Yeah, no, when she did like, well, no one talks down to me, and I'm like, it's like 1800s London. I feel like a lot of people talk down to you.
I also as I was watching this, most of it seems like fairly new actors, people I don't know, but I don't know if he's the big bad, but like one of the like the threats they're facing, the Crow Man, is played by Rory McCann, aka the Hound. And they're Stephen King-esque magical Negro Man, which, by the way, real problematic there, guys. Is played by Clark Peters, and I just felt bad for both of them being in this.
It's so funny, like the Hound doesn't show up at all after that episode.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the mystical magical Negro Man turns out to be evil at the end. It's so great.
That's even worse.
I was watching, I'm like, no, they're not. Oh my god, yes, they are. Like, it got to the point where the worse the show got, I was like, I'm into this now, because at least you're interestingly bad.
Into the next ditch. Do it.
Because the main problem with the show is how fucking boring it is.
Yes. It
Just
is.
so
That's what
dull.
I didn't make it through the first episode. I was like, you have Holmes and Watson and some Oliver Twist street kids and apparently real ghosts. Like, I'm down, and you're
Yeah.
boring the piss out of me.
Yeah.
Like it made me deeply miss Enola Holmes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did I not get another Enola Holmes movie instead?
Yeah. You can do this well, but instead they gave us something, and I'm like, I think I'd rather watch the Mighty Ducks cartoon. It sounds more interesting than this.
I ended up going and watching my Three Investigators movie instead.
Yeah, this was a huge disappointment to me.
Secret of Terror Castle.
I don't understand how a show gets more boring when Sherlock shows up.
Right?
That seems impossible.
When Watson showed up like an escapee from Bridgerton, I was like, we're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've had our lima beans or whatever the irregulars are. Let's dive in for dessert and let's talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 2, which means spoiler warning here. If you haven't seen episode 2 yet, I definitely recommend going in unspoiled. We're gonna talk in detail about it.
I gotta say that first episode when they rolled through the helicopter,
Yeah,
like that stunt was bug shit crazy, and then
Yeah.
they one-upped it by rolling a helicopter through an open bomber side
yeah.
to side, and I was like, Jesus Christ, guys, just amazing. I'm kidding, none of that happened,
No,
but you should get ready for spoilers because there's just no way to discuss this. I don't know who's not watching this compulsively right away.
right. Okay.
You stay up, don't you?
One of the managers in my comic shop has not seen it yet this week, and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" But he is doing a Star Trek podcast. And he'd have to watch like a full season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So
But you make it
Still
difficult
kind
to
of
live.
rude to come into a comic book shop not having watched it. Because
I know.
what are we going to talk about?
Like you know
I
you're in
know.
a Foot Locker and didn't watch the game, right?
Exactly right. So this for me, some of my first comics after G.I. Joe Transformers, my first Marvel comics that I just fell in love with were Mark Gruenwald's Captain America, in which he basically did this story of Captain America getting replaced by John Walker. And so I have a huge nostalgic attachment to it. And so when not only does Lamar Hoskins show up, but Lamar Hoskins shows up as fucking Battlestar,
And they call him it. Yeah,
I
that's
was
some deep cut shit.
stunned and so happy. They can do
I love
anything
that-
else they want.
I love that Bucky is like, what's your name? Battlestar. Stop the car. I'm getting out. This is- I can't do this.
And then he tells a couple of people like, "Okay, hey Bucky," like, no,
yeah.
no.
No. Cap calls me that. You don't. No. That's
I
our
thought-
word.
I thought they did a great job of showing John Walker to be. I mean, yes, the hints of douche are still very strong there, but they show him to be a guy. They show him to be a guy who does just want to do well. Like he does. He didn't come in to replace Steve or Sam. He was just like, look, they gave me the shield. I just want to do this job well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the difference in what doing it well mean. I mean, like he could do it well, and that doesn't need a level of politeness that we're used to from Cap.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's an aw shucks 50s-ness to Steve or 40s-ness to Steve
Mm-hmm.
that there is because he's frozen in time.
Right.
And John Walker's just not going to have that. And so I think that Nick, I think you texted around the like, God damn it, show, don't make me care for John Walker here. But
Yeah.
I'm watching it going, fuck man, that is a lot of pressure. And you're well liked by your unit. Like you seem like an okay soldier. Like you're not terrible. You're
know what?
just not the guy I want for this.
You know what it reminds me of is you remember like American Sniper when that guy was like the big hero,
Mhm.
and then we start to look into it. And we realize, oh, maybe this dude was a little too jingoistic and maybe a little too into killing people.
Maybe most people we train to this level of killer are fucked up.
I feel like that's where they're going to go with John Walker. He's got all these medals of honor, and he looks on paper like the super soldier. But I don't remember if one of you guys said this or if I saw this somewhere else. But basically, they got the super soldier that the general wanted originally. They got just this big slab
No,
of
that makes
beef
sense.
Mhm.
to be their soldier, and they're missing the weak man. They're missing the guy who knows the value of strength, and I think that's what's going to come around.
He is actually a better soldier than Steve. He is a super
Yeah.
soldier because Steve is actually a pretty shitty soldier, disobeying orders and
Yeah,
He's just unstoppable because of that serum.
but Steve is the better warrior
Yeah.
and how they've always portrayed it, and I like that dynamic. I will say that this show does prove to me that I do have an unhealthy investment in the Disney. Like I am Zack Snyder boy level into this of like I'm like, okay, they gave him the costume. I knew they were gonna do that, but they showed. I don't know why I didn't think they would give him the shield, but when they gave him the shield in the last episode, I was like, you fucking put that down. You put that fucking down right now.
Yep.
You keep Cap's name out of your thin lip mouth.
You fucking Kurt Russell wannabe.
They did a lot of good work here. Like they show him training, they show him bouncing the shield, and then
Mhm.
they show him using the shield really, really well, just as good as Steve did in
Yeah.
combat against. So like they show that this guy is not just a poser, like he knows what he's doing. And they're getting us to, I mean, I watched this with Megan and she's like, I don't like this, don't like that Cap, I don't like him. But at the same time, they want us to invest in him so that they can pull the rug out from under us. And I think they did a good job of that.
Yeah.
Right.
There's something weird. So we've seen what obviously the I want to be in a Marvel movie training regimen does to actors.
Mhm.
Chris Pratt went from Andy to hey, I want to be in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Now I'm super cut Andy. Kumail Nanjiani,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck, like he touched he's power cosmic now. Like he touched a cube to do that. And somehow weirdly, Wyatt Russell's never been in bad shape. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't in bad shape in the baseball movie Linklater did, whatever the kind of spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused. Like he was
Yeah.
in that. He was in college baseball shape. He was in God, what was the
Overlord?
crazy ass Overlord? Yeah, where he's military. He's a big fucking slab of beef there. Somehow him getting what I realize has got to be in twice as good a shape as I've ever seen him in my life for this role makes him look leaner and smaller
Mhm.
somehow. And I don't know if I'm just used to the size that some of the other people are in these shows or what, but somehow like when that first episode when they were or second episode when they were first showing him really I was like, man, your face looks different, like your jaw looks different.
I want to see a behind the scenes design of how they designed the new Cap because I feel like a lot of thought went into it.
Mhm.
He looks. It's like they said, okay, we need a suit that fits you, but looks like it doesn't.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, having the ears out, like that little touch. They made a point.
He
of
doesn't
making
have
him look-
taxi cab door ears.
They made him look dorky. They wanted to make him look a little dorky and over sincere, and maybe like a kind of guy you want to punch in the face. They really
Mhm.
made the costume look like that.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, Wyatt Russell is a good actor, and out of that hood, out of that helmet, just a good looking guy. Like it makes sense. But you put him in that helmet, and all of a sudden, like, God, I feel like I want to punch you in the face. I don't know what it is. It's
Yeah, I feel like we definitely know that the Marvel universe happens in a different universe than ours, definitely. Because if someone were to replace Cap in our universe, like Les said, they would Mussolini them in the street.
Like yeah, we'd have tore him like the press would have tore him apart on the steps there.
So we've talked a lot about the new Cap and Battlestar. Let's talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier, who appear on screen together now. And I thought their chemistry's great. Like the two of them, they're like brothers who just hate each other. It's
Him just following him onto the plane and
Yeah.
into a secret mission.
Yeah.
Because we're not done. Because like I'm not done talking to you.
Yeah, I love that.
And like I can walk on a plane. I don't need a fucking like where'd he go?
Yep.
Fuck. He just steps off the edge of the plane. Don't need it anyway.
I love that he's like, no, we're still arguing. Come back here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I like all of their chemistry, and I thought they did a great job with that. But the thing that got me this episode, the stuff that I loved, was the stuff where I didn't know they were going to go there. We had hints of it, but when they actually started talking about Isaiah, and
Mhm.
when we met him, and when we see him, and man, Carl Lumley just nails this sort of guy who used to be a super soldier and is just now so angry about what was done to him.
Mhm.
He's got a brief appearance, but he just sells that so well.
Yeah, it's great. Of like, yeah, man, I didn't get treated like that.
I can't believe they're doing it. I can't believe that Disney is going to have. They're like, yeah, no, the government they had a black super soldier. They locked him up for 30 years and experimented on him. Like that's
Yeah.
fucking subversive as shit.
Because he's from what? Truth, Red, White, and Black.
Yeah.
Is that the
Mhm.
comic?
Yeah.
Yeah. And for them to go there, and then immediately after to do the thing on the street with the cops and Sam. And I thought that scene was just note perfect of like, Sam is just like, fuck you, you don't get to see my ID. Bucky's trying to tell him like, hey, do you know who this is? And Sam is already annoyed. He's like, it shouldn't matter who I am.
I shouldn't need to tell him that.
Yeah, I don't need to tell him who I am. And he's kind of like wants to be pissed at Bucky about it too. Like,
I shouldn't need to flex at the bank. I shouldn't need to flex here.
Yeah.
I love that the cops are like, hey, obvious cyborg, is this black man bothering you?
Yeah.
Hey, lizard man, is this black guy giving you some shit?
Yeah.
He takes something from you? Like, I love like
giant interdimensional god. Is this black?
Yeah. Again with Disney, I'm surprised they went there. I'm pleased with it. I thought it was a nice little scene. And I thought having Bucky be the one who gets arrested was kind of interesting.
Right, because he skipped his therapy with, I gotta say, is either the best or worst therapist ever.
Love her.
I can't tell which. Yeah, I can't
really
tell if she's going to betray them all or what. She's amazing.
And then we get more of the Flag Smashers, who I thought they did a great job with.
Yeah, that they're just getting cooler. Also, they name dropped something that I hadn't heard or knew was going to be in the show, but it was cool to hear Power Broker name drop.
Yeah, and that he's after them, that they aren't working with him. They stole his tech. Like that's, and I still want to know, this is one of the questions that's been floating around a little bit. Do you guys think that Cap and either not Cap, John and Battlestar have powers and they're hiding, or do you think they're going to go that direction? Like they were fighting super soldiers and they held their own.
But he said outright in an interview, "I don't have super strength."
But I think he might be lying.
That shield, I don't think you can handle that shield without some level of super strength. I really don't.
But Sam doesn't have any.
That's true. That's true.
I guess. Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, I can't tell if John does yet.
Yeah.
Or if at some point after getting their asses handed to them, they aren't going to give him because doesn't Power Broker give U.S. Agent powers in the comics?
In the comics, he does. Yes, and that's why I think they might be going there.
I don't think he has them yet, but I think at some point he's going to recognize it as a limitation.
Don't forget the Vader rays. That's how you get an abomination.
Yep, that's right. I'm super into this. I feel like the action sequences, on top of the truck, were really just on that same level of that first helicopter chase.
Yes, actually, as soon as they started the truck fight, I was like, "Well, here's our helicopter moment."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
every episode we're doing this apparently.
The woman who played Emphas Nest, the woman who's playing Carly Morgenthau, I like her. I think she's doing a good job playing this sort of inspiring leader of the Flag Smashers. I liked when when Winter Soldier goes in there and she gives him that smile, and he thinks it's this, and it's that smile of, oh, you fucked up. You don't realize what I'm about to do to you.
Yeah.
And he puts it together of like, fuck. And then she kicks him off the truck.
Out. Yeah. I'm loving this. I'm sad it's only 6 episodes, but I cannot wait for more.
Knowing that there's just like an endless river of Disney content coming. Yes. Helpful that knowing that it's only 6.
That's true.
I do hope that actress,
and knowing that they're going to story dovetail it right into whatever's next.
I do hope that actress gets a part eventually that doesn't involve her wearing a mask and having being a girl being a huge part of her story.
Yes, it would be nice. All right, well, I think that wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks,
Randy. You're welcome.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder that you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us a buck an episode, listen to our episode this week about kaiju and other episodes we've got. We've got probably a good 100 or more on there. And until next week,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.